What obligation, if any, does someone writing a book like either of yours to the intentions of the original writer? Is there anything that you would consider out of bounds for the kind of work that you've done? And
you mean in our own work?
Yeah. Well, was there any moment when you wanted to write something and just said, no, can't do it?
Well, I mean, of course, both of us probably wanted to hook Jo up with Laurie. I really wanted to take Jo and send her off to Europe with Laurie and have her run around in men's suits and start this new fashion craze. But I couldn't do that to Alcott. Alcott had a reason for not hooking them up.
That's right.
So I could not do it.
Louisa would come back from the dead and drive a stake through your heart.
Exactly.
If you hooked Jo up with Laurie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even though I think that was the big one with me.
Okay.
But otherwise I tried to stay very true. And to her themes, she really has a lot to say in this book. So I stayed true to her themes and her characterization and her plot.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah.
I didn't. There wasn't anything that I wanted to do that I didn't do. I felt again once I changed them into vampires, everything. There was just an outline that I just followed, and it just all made sense as I went along. And I kind of, for me. Another spoiler, having Beth, because Beth is dying. As it seemed to me, nothing in particular, and that kind of has always galled me, and make it Claire Danes, and it's particularly galling. So I was glad to have an opportunity to explain, why she's dying, because she's being, poisoned, and why she's being so negative about it. Why she's so accepting of it is because she's being poisoned by something that's sort of, sapping her strength and all of her sort of will. And then, like with Laurie, I was so excited to have, more stuff to explain all the decisions I've already made. So like with Laurie, I was so excited to come up with, part of the reason he really wanted to be with Jo was because Jo is a vampire and he wanted to be turned into a vampire. So that it wasn't just that he wanted Jo, he wanted the vampire lifestyle. So that, and that to me, I found there was these great opportunities to take what she'd already done and underscore them in a new way with new material.
Yeah, there's this very great teen angst going on with your version of Laurie, where everybody else is becoming vampires, and he so wants to be a vampire, and no one will bite him. But so it goes. Okay. Recently, the publishing world has welcomed such titles as The Undead World of Oz, L. Frank Baum's Wonderful Wizard of Oz, complete with zombies and monsters, Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, Queen Victoria, Demon Hunter, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and Zombie Jim, Android Karenina, Alice in Zombieland. Should we be concerned that there's just not going to be an end to this when maybe there should be? I mean, lest all of history and classic fiction be turned into, as Amy Leal recently put it in Chronicle of Higher Ed, a giant Mad Libs game?
Well, it's going to run its course.
Yeah.
It all runs its course, as I was saying in the back room. I've been through this once before with Chick Lit. You cycle in, you cycle out. I thought it was going to tap out with Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, but I Googled it, and it was a movie in 2001. So this unto itself isn't even new. They were doing this in was it the 60s or the 70s with Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. Like it's already been before and again, and it'll fall out of favor and it'll be rediscovered. And but no, I don't think anything is safe. But I think that we'll all get we'll just get cynical.
Well, and if it gets young people to read, who cares what they're reading? I remember my mother being criticized when I was in grade school because she let us read Mad Magazine, and she mentioned it to the priest at church, and he his Father O'Brien, his face got all red, and he was just, his jowls were shaking. You let them read Mad Magazine?
Alfred E. Newman does that to some people. But, yeah.
So, and I turned out fine. So I mean, if it's getting kids to read, if people are reading these books, it's getting them to read, if they're enjoying them, let them go, as long as they will.
Okay. I just have one more question before we throw this open, and that is, all things considered, what do both of you think Louisa herself would say if she were here tonight?
Hooray. I think she would be flattered and amused and delighted.
After she sued you. But
Yeah, she knows her better than me. I'm going to go with hooray then, too.
okay.